All right, Anais, I have some lore that I want to tell you.
I'm excited.
It's very deep. It is just the tip of the iceberg, but it is everything to do with Denver trying to profit off of other people sharing art.
All right, hit me with it.
So you know that Novation had that spot called the Library on South Broadway.
Yes.
The library used to be what's called the Mutiny Information Cafe.
Mutiny
Information Cafe.
Okay.
And Mutiny Information Cafe is still operating. They just moved a little bit farther south on Broadway. Mm-hmm. I'm definitely going to have the owner of Mutiny on the show eventually, but I ran across this video. The guy who we're about to watch, his name is Phil Goldstein, and he is a local Denver historian. He's written more books about Denver than anybody else, and he has a collection of books about Denver neighborhoods specifically. He has a book about the South Broadway neighborhood. Baker is what it's called. Broadway-Lincoln Association kind of area. Specifically, we're talking about the area around Ellsworth and Broadway. Mm-hmm. But what we used as the library used to be Mutiny.
Okay.
And that is very important because how Novation ended at that location was the city of Denver deemed that building a public nuisance.
And that's where the name comes from.
And here we are.
Yep.
But I had no idea how much my name related to the lore of this whole story until I started digging into this, which just reassures me that I'm on the right path.
I love a little after hours mystery.
Yes, it's an after hours mystery for sure. Okay, go ahead, Chase, play it.
Ideas or whatever here, because the very fact that you are down here shows that this is indeed a miracle. Because where we are right now is on a place called the Miracle Mile. South Broadway was originally an elite residential street. This was the place across Cherry Creek. And of course, the other side of Cherry Creek was evil, wicked Denver. And anybody that could get out of evil, wicked Denver would do so along the way out of it. And soon you start having some fantastic mansions going up south of Cherry Creek, along Broadway, east of Broadway, west of Broadway. A lot of them still survive today in something called the Baker neighborhood itself. And for about a generation, being on South Broadway was just this address that showed you were somebody very special, very prestigious.
Okay.
Beginning in...
So, I think that's interesting. And you heard how he said that you sitting here right now is a miracle. Mm-hmm. And that's because the city of Denver has been trying to close this building since the 1920s.
Yeah.
The Mutiny Information Cafe's first inhabitant as a business was a pharmacy. And this pharmacy was ultimately shut down by Big Pharma so that they could, not have competition of a mom and pop shop. Mm-hmm. After the pharmacy closed, the underground of the 80s wasn't music. The underground of the 80s in Denver was bookstores.
And so this bookstore space, these are the same books that were in the background of the stage at the Novation shows, right? At the library,
these are the same books that were on the walls at the library. And if you notice, the melting clock, the Salvador clock, back there, that clock was behind the bar at Novation.
It looks a hell of a lot cleaner back then.
Doesn't it? Yeah. So this is the library here, and I just think that it is so interesting that he is filming it in the Mutiny Cafe. Mm-hmm. All right, Chase, go ahead and play it again.
A Bronco bus, a Bronco brunch, whatever, in terms of all of that. They are of this, but his specialty at the house for years was the $5 steak dinner. And last time I ate there before he got real sick, the $5 steak dinner was up to $15, and the staff was all changing or whatever, and he died maybe about 6, 7, 8 years ago. or so, and the replacement places just are not
kind of
the same out of it itself. But again, you're having this transition, this
made the Baker neighborhood
that is going on Broadway at this time. And added to all of this,
did you guys still have that Mutiny sign up in the corner? Innovation? Oh, that's a cool sign.
Neighborhood. And what lands up happening here is there never was a really distinctive real estate name to this area other than Miracle Mile. At one time, it was called Broadway Terrace. East of Broadway was East Broadway Terrace. They were very creative in names back here on all of that itself on that there. And then in 1972, the city decides it's going to completely carve up the city into something called statistical planning units at the behest of the Model Cities Act of Washington. And the poorer a neighborhood was, the more money it qualified to receive from Washington in the name of model cities and urban renewal of this itself. So the planners that knew nothing about this area decide that the area south of 6th Avenue all the way to Mississippi Avenue from the Platte River to Broadway was going to be the Baker neighborhood. And there were bakers in the area, but that wasn't...
So, if we make a comparison here, someone who knew nothing about the history or the heart or the soul of the Baker neighborhood came in and was in charge of creating it.
And when he said, like, the poorer the neighborhood, the more money they got. So that's going to change things around drastically.
This reminds me a lot of companies like Insomniac coming in and throwing parties in these underground warehouse spaces.
Yeah, the less developed the city, the higher potential for the market.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you don't know the heart and the soul behind where you're throwing a party, your party's not gonna align.
I mean, so one thing that Insomniac is doing now that they're coming to Denver, which I know you have personal experience with, is they're trying to make contacts with these underground promotion companies like Denver Techno, for example, or reaching out to local promoters like you and trying to tap in through not just like trying to take over, but trying to collaborate.
And I really appreciate that. And so I must say I was a little bit hesitant to take a job working with Insomniac.
Yeah.
Because of my position in keeping the underground alive, and Insomniac is the opposite of the underground.
I mean,
however, it started in the underground. No, Insomniac's roots are extremely underground, and I cannot fault them for getting as big as they are.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope to be as big as they are. I have a feel like we're already in this together.
I feel like Insomniac coming to Denver is actually a positive thing. And when it was first kind of discovered that they were coming to town, a lot of people freaked out. They're like, what about our underground scene? But if anything, what Insomniac is doing, which is really exciting, is that they're putting a lot of money into venues that need the money in order to really shine. Like the church and vinyl. I historically have hated going to those venues, to be honest, because they're like 18 plus. The staff is unfriendly. It's just like kind of a BS vibe. And, you know, they're both really good buildings, though. Yeah. Like the Bones of Vinyl and the Bones of Church are fucking amazing.
Sound in church?
I heard it's gotten a lot better.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I'm excited to go to the church tonight.
Somebody needed to put a bunch of money into these venues to make them, you know.
Yeah, And what ultimately made my decision to say yes to partnering with Insomniac was, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would love to have an influence on that next step for this culture.
100%. When we were approached to promote for them as well, we were really excited because, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. And that doesn't mean that you can't still be working heavily with the underground. Yeah. But I think that it's a win for our city to have more money being poured into these genres of music and these shows.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, Chase, go ahead and play it, and let's see if there's anything else coming up that I wanted to talk about.
They were naming it. James H. Baker was a longtime principal of East High School, who later goes on to be president of the University of Colorado, and he dies in the mid-1920s, right when a new West High School is opening up at West 9th Avenue and Lottie Street. And when the new West High School opens up, they transformed the old West High School, which was at Fifth Avenue in Fox, called the Skyline Urban Renewal Project. And this basically saw the total destruction of old Larimer Street from 15th Street to 20th Street in the name of destroying the pawn shops, the shelters, the porno joints,
the nuisances,
simple lodges of that, to transform the area into a place of the elite of there. Well, you do not destroy slums. What urban renewal does is slum relocation along the way out of that there, and some of the marginal businesses from Larimer Street are starting to see, where are the rents real cheap? On South Broadway, where city plans had kicked out all the merchants around there. And so some of the porno joints are moving in, the liquor stores are moving in. There's a lot of complaints by the neighborhood that basically City Hall doesn't care. A lot of them are soon moving out. Soon there is one group that really does care and cares a lot about trying to revive the Baker neighborhood, and that is members of the gay community. And the mid-1970s is right when homosexuals, whatever you want to call them, gays, lesbians, trans, whatever on this, are slowly starting to come out of the closet. And other than further sexual orientation,
a
lot of the guys in particular are very
porno joints, the
insistent
liquor stores,
on
the gays are there.
middle class orientation, that they are responsible, meaning home owners. In fact, there was a place called the Jefferson Hotel, which was something like 440 South, the Broadway. That became the headquarters of the gay publishing empire of Denver in the 1980s into the 1990s. A guy named Bob Schloff had it, who, other than his sexual orientation, could have been your most staunch conservative Wall Street Republican you ever wanted to meet.